Brightons fans had been taunting visiting manager Ronald Koeman, a former South Coast rival at Southampton, with chants of Youre getting sacked in the morning before Wayne Rooney stepped up to dispatch his pressure penalty and spare his side what would have been a somewhat undeserved yet maddeningly predictable defeat. But here was a man for the big occasion. It's 15 years this week that Rooney announced himself to the football world with his first Premier League goal for Everton, but a decade and a half later, the Blues' prodigal son Hasnt scored many more important ones than this. The old legs might not move as freely as when Rooney was the precocious man-child and force of nature during his first Sigurdsson spell, but his football brain is as sharp as ever, and if you wanted nerves of steel in such a situation, England's record goal scorer was the right man to have on the spot. With over 3,000 visiting fans biting their fingers, Rooney killy rolled his shot to Matthew Ryan's right as the Aussie keeper dived to his left. Everton, and their manager, were off the hook. Brighton 11 Everton. Rooney's late penalty saves Ronald Koeman's blushes pick that one out. Shane Duffy clashes with Jordan Pickford of Everton and Michael Keane. Image Steve Barden's Getty Images. Rooney wasn't Everton's only hero on a crazy afternoon. At the other end, Jordan Pickford saved their bacon to ensure they were still in the game. With echoes of the Blues' last visit to Brighton over 30 years ago when all the action was squeezed into the final 10 minutes and Howard Kendall gestured shush towards to his players despite winning at the end of the game following another controversial refereeing display from Clive Thomas, all of the drama on this occasion came in a frantic finish. The home fans were unhappy with Michael Oliver's display in officiating the contest, but in truth he was far more fair-minded than the infamous Welsh whistleblower, and their cries of derision were more out of frustration. What had been a cagey contest was sparked into life when Anthony Knockaert looked to have fired in a winner for Brighton with just 8 minutes remaining. Despite Everton's earlier dominance, at this point the visitors could have crumbled, but with Albion smelling blood, Jordan Pickford pulled off a terrific save to keep his side in the contest. Unlike last season when Pickford was regularly being kept busy as the last line of defence in a Sunderland team that was the worst in the division, a rather different brief is expected from him this term, hopefully, but he showed that even on a day when he didn't have much to do, he could still produce the goods when required. Changing of the guard. Wayne Rooney of Everton reacts. Image Steve Barden's Getty Images. So Rooney can still take a mean penalty when it matters, but can he still lead the line for 90 minutes at the highest level? Well, possibly, for 45 minutes at least. Having recalled Rooney to the starting lineup after he was left on the bench for Burnley's visit to Goodison, Koeman started with the veteran as centre-forward and young Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who has been an effective target man at times this season, out on the left wing. The tactical switch showed promise with Calvert-Lewin marauding effectively down the flank, but strangely on several occasions he lost his footing on a pitch that didn't seem overly wet. For the second half the pair traded places, but Everton were still ultimately unable to make a breakthrough from open play. Umar Niasse, a hero off the bench against Bournemouth, was given another chance in the latter stages, but didn't look at the races this time. The dilemma of who spearheads Everton's attack remains. Everton player ratings. Keane and Vlasic highlights of dismal draw. A not so perfect 10. Brighton Hove Albion's Anthony Knockaert left and Everton's Jiffy Sigurdsson battle for the ball during the Premier League match at the Amex Stadium, Brighton. Koeman bristled this week over suggestions that he wasn't getting the best out of record Jiffy Sigurdsson on the wing, pointing out that the £45 million man spent prolonged periods out on the left for previous club Swansea City. However, he nevertheless restored the Iceland World Cup hero to his preferred central role behind the striker on this occasion. In keeping with much Sigurdsson's early play at his new club, with Split being the notable exception, there were attempted flicks, tricks and silky skills, but not a lot of end product. That wonder of a foot from set pieces threatened to do some damage in dead ball situations, finding teammates on several occasions, but still were waiting to see the kind of magic that was regularly produced at the Liberty Stadium. A late free kick looked better favoured for an in-swinging Leighton Baines left footer, but instead Sigurdsson fluffed his lines. But if he can be given a prolonged run in his favoured position, there should hopefully be better days ahead for the Iceman. Travel sickness continues. It's now 10 months since Everton tasted victory in a Premier League match away from Goodison Park, and after this crazy finish, a contest they could have won, drawn or lost, the wait continues. Any team who has aspirations of breaking into the division's elite needs to become an effective force wherever they're playing, and the Blues' fragile status on the travels continues to be a source of frustration. Yes, Sigurdsson became a fortress again in the second half of last season, but both Tottenham and Burnley have stormed the Citadel already this term, which increases the pressure and expectation to pick up wins elsewhere. On the one hand, Koeman's side, spurred on by over 3,000 travelling fans who had made the arduous journey down to the south coast for a ridiculous early kickoff on a Sunday afternoon, displayed mental strength to ensure they emerged with something from this contest, but they have to start turning some of these 1 points into 3, especially against the division's lesser lights.